This is the Lamzu Thorn and it's a major positive surprise for me. I've got the Fnatic collab and according to Lamzu, the only difference with this one and the standard Thorn is the colorway. So everything that we go through in this review will match the standard Thorn as well. And let me tell you that almost all the features in the mouse are very good, so let's start the review. The click feel is very good in game as these are light and easy to actuate, which makes these very accurate to spam while controlling recoil, for example. The actuation itself is not very crispy or tactile, so if that's something that you look for in a click, these might not be something you enjoy. The scroll wheel has tactile steps and the middle click is very easy to actuate, and the side buttons feel very premium with crispy and tactile actuation. If I were to rank this optical switch implementation, the Thorn would go very high up, as it would only lose to the Viper Mini Signature Edition and the Viper V2 Pro in my opinion. The coding is now smooth and very grippy, which is a huge improvement over their Atlantis lineup, and this coding even makes the mouse feel more premium overall. The mouse feet have been extremely good on all Lamzu mice and this is no exception, but the thing is that with some smoother pads these are actually surprisingly slow. For example, on the wrist pad from the Whale, these are actually slower than the EC3 feet from Zowie. The mouse comes with the 4K dongle included in the box, and the performance is exactly as I've described in previous videos, so the mouse does very well with 4K in terms of motion latency and click latency. And as the Thorn is using optical switches, you can run the mouse with 0 millisecond debounce pretty much forever without worrying about double clicks. One thing that Lamzu still does not have is slam click prevention, which can happen quite easily with the Thorn at 0 millisecond debounce, and this is quite irritating if this ends up happening for you in a competitive CSGO game, for example. The battery life is pretty much the same as with previous Lamzu 4K mice, so it does lose out to the Viper V2 Pro and of course the Logitech G Pro X Superlight 2. Moving on to the shape, which in my opinion is fantastic with the Thorn. The shape does draw some inspiration from one of my all-time favorite mice, the Vaxi Outset AX, as it does have that more aggressive kind of an additional hump on the back shell, which forces your hand into a more of an upward angle. This feels very natural, especially for a more aggressive kind of claw. Looking at the Thorn from the bottom, you can also see that it looks very familiar with the Outset AX, and that applies to the hand feel as well, as the front right side has pretty much non-existent curvature and feels very flat in hand, making the mouse very safe in that regard, so you have a lot of room to decide where you want to hold your fingers. Essentially, the Thorn does feel like a smaller Outset AX for me, but some key changes. For example, for tilt grip in the mouse, it's not quite as comfortable as the Outset AX. And it's not an exact clone. For example, the right side of the mouse with your thumb feels quite a bit different than on the Outset AX. Overall, it's not very similar to many other ergo mice. It's in the same size category as the EC3, but it will feel much higher profile than the EC3 because of the high hump on the backside of the mouse and your fingers not reaching all the way towards the front, which is quite low profile. The Death Adder V3 Pro then again will feel quite large compared to the Thorn, and overall the Death Adder has much less curvature on the side, so it does feel almost like a symmetrical mouse compared to the Lamzu Thorn. So I think the shape is fantastic for a claw, and it does not really work that well for any other grip style, but basically the people who did love the Outset AX because of its back hump or the flat right side will almost surely love the Lamzu Thorn as well. The weight is 53 grams, which is very lightweight for an ergo mouse of this size, and it feels very well balanced and very lightweight in your hand. And even after longer practice sessions I have no issues with my wrist. Usually I do not get any kind of pain or anything when I'm using even a heavier ergonomic mouse like the EC2 or the EC3. But I will say that I will feel much more comfortable using this one for multiple hours. One thing that I need to mention as sort of a warning is that on my first unit of the Thorn, the left click did not actually work at all. But I've only seen a couple of people for now mention some issues with the clicks, so this may be a very limited case. Also, quickly about the quality of the Thorn, so I noticed that on the original reviews some people did have issues with, for example, click bubble and post travel, but in my unit the post travel is not massive by any means and the click bubble is pretty much non-existent, and it definitely does not bother me at all in the game. Lamzu did mention to me that this Fnatic version is the exact same as the original Thorn, so there should not be any quality changes on this one that are not present on the production units of the Thorn. The price for this collab is going to be 99 bucks and the 4K dongle is included in the box, which makes the mouse very good value for money. So unless any of these quality issues start troubling the Thorn in a major way, this mouse is absolutely fantastic. The only slight problem that I have with it is that it draws so much inspiration from the Outset AX, whereas I would like to see something more innovative, something maybe a little bit different. But it's not really a direct clone, as there are some key differences, and of course it's now wireless, has lighter weight, is smaller, and there is the question that is Vaxi ever going to make a smaller Outset AX? The important features are almost as if they were optimized for me, because the clicks are light, the coding is pretty much exactly as I would love it to be, and the combination of the shape and the weight feels very good for me. This is with ease one of the top 5 best mice released this year. And a video about my current top 5 favorite mice should be coming out quite soon. Thank you guys so much for watching, hope you enjoyed the video and see you in the next one.